So what I'm hoping to do tonight is not give my point of view on Iran, but just kind of go through some of the public record, publicly available documents and quotes, but not necessarily publicly reported documents and quotes, to get an idea of just where we're at with this apparent urgency to confront Iran over its nuclear program. And I just will say nuclear program, not nuclear weapons program. One of the reasons I wanted to get out on the road and start giving this talk, this is the third one I've given, was a recent CNN Newsweek poll that I came across, this is back in June, that 71% of the American people believe that Iran already has nuclear weapons. 71%. Now, I don't think I have to tell this group, but let's just be clear, Iran does not have any nuclear weapons at this point. The fact that 71% of the people believe that they do, I think, tells us a whole lot about how much real news is getting conveyed by our mainstream media. Not much. And when it comes to the question of deciding whether our country is going to go to war or support another country going to war, it's critical that we have better information than this. Another poll that I just came across in the last week or two, this is from Fox News, so take it with a grain of salt if you want, but they are claiming that their latest poll shows that 65% of those Americans would support a U.S. attack on Iran. So just a little quick background. Iran has had a nuclear power program since the days of the U.S.-backed Shah. At that time, the plan was to build, with full U.S. support, 20 nuclear power generating plants. 2 plants were started, but they were bombed during the Iran-Iraq War and never rebuilt. Current plans call for the eventual construction of 15 nuclear power plants and 2 nuclear research reactors. The reason Iran is after nuclear power, what they say, and what is apparently the truth, is that Iran, while it's oil-rich, is energy poor. Because of lack of planning, lack of capacity over the past 2 or 3 decades, their refining capacity for all their oil has not kept up. And they cannot refine enough gasoline or natural gas to meet their own energy needs. They are net importers of gasoline, even though they are an oil country. It's incredible. So their explanation that they're building nuclear reactors for civilian power generation seems to be right on the mark. We are faced with sanctions that aren't going to do anything. A situation that, although an attack does not seem as imminent as it did just 2 months ago, we still are on the knife's edge, because even though Israel has backed off, there was an article in the New York Times just last month, or actually earlier this month, that the United States had managed to convince, according to this article, had managed to convince Israel that Iran is at least a year away from developing anything usable for a weapon. As we see by our own intelligence agency, it's actually several years. But I think this whole thing came about because Obama was trying to get some space to restart the Israel-Palestine negotiations. And at least for the time being, Iran is on the back burner, but it's never taken off the boil, so to speak. You can be sure that Israel has its complete detailed plans for a strike on Iran, as does the United States, because if Israel struck Iran, we are surely going to get pulled into it. And if we do it on behalf of Israel, same thing. Let's just quickly, before I wrap up, consider what the outcome of either an Israeli or an American strike on Iran might be. And let's assume it's an Israeli strike. Well, first of all, Iran is probably going to encourage the groups that it has provided some financial support to, and they're probably not going to need much encouragement, groups like Hezbollah and Hamas, to carry out attacks on Israel on the ground. This will immediately involve Lebanon in the war. With the U.S. backing Israel like it does, it will be called in to help back Israel, and the war could rapidly become a regional war. It's assumed that if Israel attacks Iran, that they're going to have to do it by overflying Saudi Arabia, because Iraq has already said, you can't fly over our space to attack Iran. Iran has already said that if Saudi Arabia allows that to happen, they will attack Saudi Arabia as well, and it expands even more and becomes a regional conflict in very short order. And finally, Iran has said that they will cut the flow of oil from this region. This is where the world gets most of its oil, and most of that oil comes out this little narrow waterway called the Strait of Hormuz, running right on Iran's banks. All they have to do is scuttle 1 or 2 tankers in the middle of the Strait of Hormuz, and it's shut down. We get no oil over here. It's very easy to shut down. It happened several times during the Iran-Iraq War. They know how to do it. So an attack on, not to mention, Afghanistan and Iraq being right here, Iran could make terrible trouble for our soldiers that are still in both of these countries with suicidal attacks or whatever. Some analysts say that Iran has 30,000 operatives in Iraq, people who are willing to do things on behalf of Iran. So you go from Lebanon to Iraq to Saudi Arabia to Iran to possibly Afghanistan, and you have a regional war that may rapidly spin out of control while our still stumbling economy is shut off from Middle Eastern oil. It would be an absolute Bush era is over.
Let's thank Paul for his presentation.
Thank you.